Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. My name is Tony Butler. I'm one of the life sales directors here at IMES. And today's webinar, we're going to discuss NGL with one of our top producers, John Entingh. Um, going to just jump right into it. A couple of things I want to mention that we here at IMES offer. Um, First, like to talk about our new producers. If you are a new producer, we have different levels to where you can receive additional perks, leads, things of that nature. So if you do produce either 100,000 in premium, 250, 500, 750, or 1 million, as you can see here, there are several things that you can qualify for. If you have any questions regarding our new producers builders, I really strongly suggest that you give your sales director a call. Be more than happy to discuss that with you, or give me a call. I'd be more than happy to discuss that with you. We also have our IMES Business Builder. We understand that in the business that we're in, referrals are a big thing. So any agents that you refer to IMES and they get appointed with any of the carriers that we do work with, we do provide you with the $50 referral bonus. Any subsequent business that they write, we do provide you with additional bonus money for that, depending on the type of business that is written. Again, if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to give me a call. We also offer back office support here. We like to say we want you to work smarter, not harder. So we do offer everything from submission to commissions. So what helps you out as an agent is paperless contracting that's available. We do offer top sales expertise and coaching. We do have forms that are available and case design assistance. With the current pandemic, I know that agents are having troubles getting in front of their clients. So we do have a couple of platforms that allow you to submit electronic applications, one of which is Firelight. And as you see here, Firelight, we now have carriers available on the left here, and then we do have some carriers that we're working on to get on that platform. So if you haven't gotten registered with Firelight, I would strongly suggest that you do. You can get registered right through our website. If you need assistance in getting registered, be more than happy to walk you through that process. We also have a creative marketing solutions available for you, and that is designed to help whether it be turnkey, agency, or digital solutions. So what we can do with you is help you whether it be with handouts or flyers, if you're looking for logo design or redesigning your logo or looking for a logo, business cards. If you're looking to get in the digital marketing space, we can help with the personal website assistance as well as any social media consulting. So if you have questions regarding creative marketing solutions, definitely give us a call. Be more than happy to discuss this with you in greater detail. We also have a 24/7 website, www.imsinc.com. And I'd mentioned earlier that we have a couple of platforms as far as electronic applications. As stated previously, we have Firelight. We also have iGo eApp solutions, which you can access right through our website. You can also do on the life side of things, term universal life quotes. There's excellent sales tools available for you. You can access forms online. If you need assistance as far as navigating through the website, be more than happy to provide you with that assistance. So just give us a call. We do have a retirement analyzer that's available for agents that can help you answer questions from your clients, such as, can I continue my present standard of living into my retirement years? How could my situation change during turbulent economic times? We do offer this on a free trial basis and an ongoing free basis for those producing agents. If you have questions or would like additional information on the retirement analyzer, feel free to give us a call. We also have an IAMS Wealth Management team. That team is there for you, the advisor, for your high net worth clients. Can help you increase your revenue, improve client retention, and strengthen that relationship with your clients. If you have questions or you would like more information regarding what the IAMS Wealth Management team can offer, please give Charles Jr. a call. He'd be more than happy to help you with that. We also have an upcoming event that is our Ascend IAMS 2021 virtual kickoff. The virtual kickoff is going to be from the 20th of January to the 22nd. It's 3 hours each day. If you haven't gotten registered to this, I would strongly encourage you to get registered. We have some of the best minds in our industry that's going to be covering industry news, new marketing strategies, and sales concepts. There's going to be giveaways. If you haven't registered for this, or if you're looking for additional information, I do have a polling question I'd like for you to respond to. That way I can get that out to you and we can get you registered. So if you respond to that here, I'll make sure to get that out to you. We also have some keynote speakers, as you see here. So there's going to be a plethora of information that's going to be available for our advisors. So definitely would love for you to attend. I'm going to keep this up here for a few more seconds because it looks like quite a few of you are interested in attending. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and close that down. Now with that, John, are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
Awesome. John, I'm going to switch you over to be the presenter.
Okay.
There you go.
And can you see the presentation?
I can see your desktop right now.
All right, so let me see something here because we have a, we make this real simple. Give me 1 second here.
Sure.
How about now?
Perfect.
Yep, that's what the problem was. So we're good to go. Well, good morning, everybody. And Tony, thank you for having me on this morning. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk about National Guardian Life. Also, before I get started today, I will tell you that I am an advisor. I have a couple offices here in Columbus, Ohio. It's a great morning to be from Ohio. The Cleveland Browns won their playoff game last night, and our Buckeyes are playing for a national championship this evening. So it's a great day to be a Buckeye, but that's not what we're here for. I really wanted to let you know that I am in the field with this product on a weekly basis. I'm not a home office employee, so when I'm talking to you from a producer's perspective. And I think anytime you're talking about a product and you can hear it from somebody who actually utilizes it, it has a lot more power than from somebody that's just putting it out on the street and sitting in a home office. So today what we're going to do is we're going to cover, I hope, you guys are going to just have to bear with me here. There we go. Today we're going to cover the opportunity with the trust, and there are big opportunities that are involved with this. We'll talk about the trust themselves. We'll talk about the product that we use to fund the trust, and then I'll give you a couple presentation ideas and tools today that you can use immediately. And then we're going to talk about NGL as a company and the value that they bring to the table for us. But first of all, let's talk about the opportunity. I didn't know anything about this product about 14 years ago. My mentor introduced me to it. And again, I started from scratch with it. But he told me, he said, look, you're in front of clients every day, and you also have this book of business that you've built, and there's nobody talking to your clients about this product. So when he explained the opportunity and how it could add to my bottom line, I dove right in and started using it in our practice, and it's really been good for us as a company, but for our clients, it's been exceptional, and I'll share some of those stories with you as we go along. You know, we all know we're in the business of planning, and any significant event is going to require that planning to be done. So it's not just going to happen on its own. We have to encourage the client to look at what their options are. We have to have them plan to make sure that the result that they want at the end is going to happen, and then show them where we're going to get the money from to make this happen. And funeral and final expenses aren't going to be any different. Somebody's going to need to determine the services and pay the bill. And the question's going to become who and when. And there's two options there. It's either going to be the deceased prior to their death having their affairs in order, or like in my personal situation, it's going to be left to the survivors afterwards. Just a quick story on me. I'm the youngest of 5 children. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old, so I wasn't super close with my father. And I've always been the entrepreneur of the family, so anytime anything happens, it's usually my phone that rings. And that happened to me on January 21st of 2011. I was notified that my dad had passed away. And what I ended up doing was going to the funeral home, and I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office, and he was asking me all kinds of questions. What was my dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the military? His favorite flower? Who his pallbearers were going to be? And it was very overwhelming to me, and kind of sad that I did not know that information and have that relationship with my dad. But what it did make me realize is that all the clients that we had been helping out, we had taken this burden off of them where they didn't have to sit in there and go through what I went through trying to answer questions that I had no idea what the answers were. So again, I'm going to show you a way to help your clients not be put in that position. And there's two ways to do it. You can either plan and pay for the funeral. That's called the pre-need. That's where you go into a funeral home and you meet with the funeral director and you go through the process to lock in your pricing. Or you can pay for the anticipated expenses. In other words, you can put money aside today for the final expenses and know that that money will be there when you need it in the future. And the reason that I say this is twofold. Number one, most clients don't know how much a funeral costs, and we'll ask our clients if they know. And the average answer we get is usually about $6,000 to $8,000, which is the furthest thing from the truth, because it's over $14,000 right now for a traditional funeral. And so what we'll do is we'll ask them, if something happened to you yesterday, how would your funeral be paid for today? And then the important part is you got to be quiet and you got to listen carefully, because you're going to hear some answers that are going to lead you down the path to be able to help them get the money into the funeral trust. And we'll ask them if there's a better way to do this, to get your planning done. Is that something that you would be interested in learning about? And obviously, if there's a better way to get something done, people are always going to be interested in hearing what that way is. And the second part of getting the planning done is that the national survey, there was 72% thought it was a good idea to pre-plan, but 64% had not taken the steps to do so. And the one thing that we know for sure is that your clients aren't any different than the ones that we're working with. And we think that this number up here of the people who don't take the steps to do so is pretty easy to understand, because I don't think that a husband and wife wake up on a beautiful sunny morning and roll over and look at each other and say, hey, let's go down to the funeral home and pick out our caskets. The human mind can only think about its own demise for about 11 seconds, and then that thought goes away. So our job is to remind them that that is going to happen at some point, and that they do need to get their planning put in place now. We all know these numbers, the amount of people that are turning 65 every day in our country. This market is not going away anytime soon. So if you're in the market and you plan on being in this service industry over the long haul, you're going to have plenty of people to talk to about this, and you certainly want to be knowledgeable about it so that you don't miss out on any opportunities. Now, how we'll start a conversation with this with clients is we'll talk to them a little bit about long-term care. And we'll share with them the facts. 69% of all Americans older than 65 are going to need some type of nursing care. And the national average for care is between $82,000 and $92,000 a year. And that number just keeps increasing due to the increased cost of health care. And many people who need long-term care are going to need to qualify for Medicaid because the numbers bear out that 93% of all Americans don't have any type of long-term care policies in place. And what ends up happening is if you don't have that care in place, then you have to start spending your assets down so that you can qualify for Medicaid. So this is what we'll talk to them about. We'll ask them, hey, do you have long-term care insurance? They tell us no. We'll say, are you aware of what you need to do in the event you would get ill to qualify for Medicaid? And we'll go through that process with them because it's going to lead us down to the path of how this all fits together, how we're going to use an insurance product and a funeral trust to give them that protection that's going to come about by blending those two together. It's going to allow them to plan ahead by setting aside the funds for those final expenses. And by using the trust to hold the funds, we're effectively spending that money down. In other words, it's not going to be a countable asset when they go to apply for Medicaid. Now, on a side note, this has just been happening with me recently. My mom became ill. My wife and I moved her into our home. The only thing my mom has ever gotten is Social Security. We've always helped her out financially, but we had to go through the process of trying to qualify her for Medicaid to get some additional benefits. And believe me, if there's an easier way to do things, you should certainly be talking to your clients about long-term care insurance and protecting assets that are going to be attached in the event that they need health care. So let's talk about the trust with NGL. The trusts are going to give us protection from creditors. The benefits are going to pay out 100% income tax free. The funds are available immediately at death. The trusts are free. That's really important. I have an elder law attorney that I have a relationship with. He's about 2 blocks down the street from me, and he does a lot of irrevocable trust planning for people who are trying to avoid spending their assets at a nursing home. And he starts the party at $7,500 to come in and talk to him. And then it goes up from there based on the planning that he needs to do for them. So we can get some of this work done for them for free by utilizing that trust. Everyone's going to qualify for the trust assignment. The death proceeds will be used for their funeral expenses, so there's no probate, no delays because the funds are available immediately. And the real important thing here is these funds are totally portable. Why is that important? Well, if you go prepay for your funeral at a funeral home, and your kids move down to Florida and you decide that's where you're going to go down and live out the rest of your years, you still are committed to that funeral home that you prepaid with. I'll use Ohio as an example here in Ohio, where if you have the funeral trust, those funds are accepted at any funeral home in the USA. So again, the funds are totally portable. You're not locked into a particular funeral home. That has some advantages in its own right. I don't care what state you're from. Just Google funeral home prepay funeral funds, and you're going to see things come up where they've been pilfered, absconded with, used in the wrong way. I'm not saying in every funeral home, but there's a lot of examples out there of that. And we continue to see those examples even in the times that we're in right now. So how do the trusts compare to traditional savings instruments? You can see that we're looking for a yes in all of these columns. And the only thing that gives us a yes in all of the columns is the irrevocable funeral trust. So again, it's going to give us all the advantages that we're looking for. And again, we're just looking to put money away and protect it and know that it's there when the client needs it. So this is actually, once you become licensed with National Guardian Life, this is available to you through their agent portal. You can download it onto your laptop, your iPad, whatever you might be using in the field. But it's a real nice way to understand how the trust works, and I'll walk you through it. Basically, what we're doing is we're telling the story to the clients about how they need to get it prepaid and get the money put aside. We're going to help them find the money. One of the things that I will say to clients is that we're not even buying anything. If you think about it, we're just repositioning assets that you currently have in order to protect them from a nursing home spend down situation. Now, what happens is once we get those funds and get the life insurance policy issued, it's basically a single premium life that has no cash value in it. And I'll explain to you how that works. Let's say that they gave us $15,000, then they may start the death benefit with $15,500. That benefit is going to earn interest. 45 days after it's issued, it's going to be put into the irrevocable funeral trust. In a little bit, I'll cover for you how we can get it in there sooner if we're doing some Medicaid planning. But for the purpose right now, we're just trying to get it into the irrevocable funeral trust. It's going to sit there. It's going to earn interest. And then once it's paid out, once we get notified of a death, that money will be paid to the funeral provider within 48 hours. And think about it, we won't even have a death certificate. But how it works is this, because I've had clients pass away. Once a client calls me and tells me someone has passed away that we have a NGL contract on, I'll ask them what funeral home they're doing business with. I'll call that funeral home for them and get the contact's name. And then I'll call National Guardian Life, give them the policy number, give them the funeral home and the contact's phone number, and then we're out of it. National Guardian Life deals directly with the funeral provider and gets them that money within 48 hours. Now, if there is any excess money left in the funeral trust, that money has to be paid to the estate of the insured, because remember, we've removed it from their estate to keep it protected from a nursing home spend down. So anything we don't use has to be paid back to the estate. So they do have two different types of trust. They have the funeral expense trust. I'll walk you through what that looks like. You can put up to $15,000 into that trust. There are going to be different limits depending on the state and sometimes even the city that you live in. I have a chart on that we'll look at here in a minute, because we have a lot of people on here today from all over the country. But what it's going to do is it's going to give them the ability to help exclude those assets to qualify for Medicaid when applying immediately. Now, I told you I have a relationship with an elder law attorney. It's not uncommon for him to call me if he's working with a client and say, hey, this client's going to try to qualify for Medicaid on February 1st. We want to get $30,000 off the table immediately. Can you come down and do a $15,000 plan on each one of the clients? We can do that, and that immediately gets it out of the estate of the insured. And then again, like I showed you before, the trust will pay those funeral costs, and any excess funds will go to the estate of the insured. They also have the NGL Estate Planning Trust. This one has a $100,000 maximum that we can put in per person, and it will exclude the Medicaid look back after the money has been in there for 5 years. So they put the money in, it sits in there for 5 years. That money is now excluded from a nursing home spend down. They can use the funds to pay funeral expenses, but any excess funds are returned to a designated beneficiary of the insured's estate. And that's because the client went through that 5-year look back period where they actually owned that policy for 5 years. But at the end of the 5th year, now they don't own it anymore. And because we went through that process, we can leave it to the beneficiary of the estate. I do a lot of talking at the IMES agent summits, and I present this product to new agents. And I always get the question, well, John, when do I use which trust? Well, the funeral expense trust is great for crisis planning. So again, if we had a client trying to qualify for Medicaid on the 1st of February and they're just trying to get money out of their estate, it's a great tool. Maybe they know that Medicaid's possible within 5 years. So maybe somebody's sick and they're spending the money and they know at some point this person's going to have to go into the nursing home. So it'd be a good opportunity there to do the trust for them. Or, I run a financial planning service here. And so anytime I bring a client in, I ask them if they've prepaid their funeral. If they tell me no, I'll walk them through the NGL program. And a lot of them, they just want to know that that money's protected right now and that they don't have to deal with this issue again moving forward in their life. The estate planning trust would be more for a person where Medicaid is a non-issue. So they have a lot of assets. Maybe Medicaid, they don't worry about it now. Maybe they're not worried about it in 5 years, or maybe they're never worried about it. I have a client of mine, they're two retired teachers who have about a $20,000 a month pension and a lot of assets. And they told me, they said, hey, we're never buying long-term care insurance, John. So whatever money we can stick into this estate planning trust, just in case everything would go south, we want to know that our kids would at least get this. We did that for them. That's been over 5 years ago. So all that money is protected. And now that money will easily transfer down to their children, in their case, or for some other clients, maybe charity. So what I would encourage you to do is first ask client, hey, have you pre-planned your funeral or prepaid your funeral? If they say no, then you want to talk to them about that funeral expense trust. If they say they have, then the next question would be, do you have any assets that you would like to know that would be protected from a nursing home and be guaranteed to go to your children or your charities after a 5-year period and can never be touched through a Medicaid spend down? And we get a lot of clients that say yes to that. And that's the real opportunity, because you can write some big cases on that. The product itself, NGL has made some changes to their asset guard program. So basically, it's a fixed rate product. Like I said, it's a life insurance policy, but it's different than your traditional single premium life. With a traditional single premium life, if you put 15,000 in, you may get 22, 23,000 a death benefit and have access to all the cash. With this one, we don't want them to have the access to the cash. That's what keeps it from being attached to a Medicaid spend down. So what we're going to explain to them is, hey, you're going to put the 15,000 in, you're going to get a little bump up in coverage. You may end up with 15,500 to start out. It's going to pay you an interest rate on your money. But remember, this is not about building wealth. This is about protecting wealth at this point. So make sure you make them understand that. So here's what your individual state limits look like. You can see based on where you're from, you may have a limit on what you can put in the funeral trust. I'll use Florida here. You can't even use the funeral trust in Florida. You're not allowed to put any money in it. And if I lived in Florida, I would still say to a client, while yes, we can't do that, we can still put 15,000 into the estate planning trust. We just have that 5-year look back period. Now, everybody knows how fast time goes. 5 years will blow by. You've still accomplished the same thing for that client, but they could put up to 100,000 in Florida if they wanted to. Now, if you were from Nebraska, where IMES is located, then you can only put 4916 into that funeral trust. So again, if I was doing a good job planning for my clients, I would say, hey, let's max that 4916, get it off the table immediately, but then let's also put another 11,000 into the estate planning trust and get that 5-year clock ticking so that the funds are there and they're protected when your time of passing comes. So you can see here in Pennsylvania, if you're on the call from Pennsylvania, then basically what's going to happen is it's by county, and you have to find out what you're allowed to put into a funeral trust. But you can see the 100,000 is available everywhere except in Massachusetts. Here's everything the irrevocable funeral trust will cover. So you can see there everything that you would need to pay for when somebody passes away, down to the transfer of the deceased or a limousine. You can use the funds to do that. So here's the highlights of it. It's a single pay program. So again, your minimum face amount is $2,500. Your maximum is $100,000. The growth rate right now is 0.5%. As you know, the insurance companies are fighting these interest rates because of the Treasury note and the rate that it's paying, and they all kind of work off of that. So again, we've seen this rate being offered as high as 2.25% in the past. I'm sure as we move into the future, this rate will go back up at some point, but for now, the way we're explaining to our clients is, yeah, you're getting 0.5% on the money, but remember, this isn't the growth part of your money. This is the protection part. There are no health questions. So NGL used to have a health question on the application. If you answered no, you were a standard issue. If you answered yes, you were a guaranteed issue. They've done away with the health question, so everybody is going to be able to qualify for the plan at the same rate and at the same benefit. So the single pay can be done ages 0 through 99, and it'll increase daily with that simple growth. And if your client would pass away, it's an immediate full death benefit. So if they put money in it 2 months ago and they died, that full benefit plus whatever daily interest was accumulated will pay out. And it couldn't be easier to do. It's 2 pieces of paper and your state replacement form, and you're done. I hate paperwork. I'll be the first one to say it. I fought doing online applications, but I can tell you the more that I do them, the more I like them. Because I remember when I wrote my first annuity back in 1993, I was in a dry cleaner in Marion, Ohio, and I pitched the annuity to the guy. He gave me a $25,000 check. The application was 3 pages, and the third page was the receipt that I left with them. If you look at applications today, some applications can be 30 to 40 pages long. So with NGL, they've simplified it. It's 2 pieces of paper, your state replacement form, and you're done with the application. Here's what the new application looks like from them. Again, you can see it's going to have their basic information up at the top, their premium, what face amount that premium buys. And then here, if you have a client who they just want you to take it directly out of their checking account or savings account, we have the ability to do that by filling in that information there. Again, they're going to sign at the bottom, you're going to sign at the bottom, and you're done with that form. Then you're going to have either an assignment form for the funeral expense trust or for the estate planning trust. I'm showing you the funeral expense trust here. It's a basic disclosure form telling them that this is an irrevocable plan. You're putting your money in it, and we tell clients this up front. This is irrevocable. You can't borrow from it. You can't cash it in. Don't call me and ask me any of those questions because it can't be done. I've never had one client ever call me about this plan and ask me, can they take money out or borrow from it, because it's irrevocable. It's going in there. It's going to pay out when they pass away. So I had explained to you earlier that it's 45 days after issue that they move the money into the irrevocable trust. Well, sometimes you'll have clients, like I said, that are trying to qualify at the end of the month to get onto Medicaid. So they can sign right here and basically say that I don't want to wait the 45 days. I give up that right. I want you to transfer that money immediately into the trust. That way, we could get it in for them the day it's issued, and that 45-day period is gone. And when they go to apply on February 1st for Medicaid, this no longer shows as an asset to them. The health question, there isn't one, so that's my fault. I should have taken that out. Let's talk about presenting this plan to clients. So when I first got into the annuity business, one of the things I learned was the easiest people to talk to about something new were people that I already had as clients. So I would tell you that if this product is new to you, I know especially with COVID-19 and the way that it's limited our marketing ability as far as, mailers and in-house seminars and public seminars, that reviews, at least in our practice, were very valuable to us last year. We stepped up our review method and it proved great results as far as new money coming into the firm. So what I would do is I would start with this product with my annual review clients. And what I would say to them is, hey, you know what, Mrs. Jones, would you agree that all the information and recommendations I give you in the past have panned out the way that we expected? Well, you know the answer is going to be yes. And so at that point, you just say, something's come to my attention that we haven't done for all of our clients, and I noticed that you don't have it done, so I want to go over this with you. That is an easier approach because those clients are willing to listen, and if you stumble a little bit, it's not going to be a big deal as if you were sitting in front of someone you never met before. So you're going to present it to them, the funeral trust funding, and stress the benefits of planning ahead, of getting their affairs in order. Talk to them about it can be used with any funeral home. You could go here in Columbus and put that money with a funeral home. What if it goes out of business? What if it gets bought by a new owner and you don't like the way the people are running it? What if it's passed down to the next generation and they run it, but they happen to run it into the ground? You don't have to worry about those things with NGL because that money is always protected and can be used with any funeral home in the United States. And then 1035 exchanging existing life insurance into this plan. Your clients, I'm going to guarantee you 99% of them do not understand that if they own a life insurance policy that has a $15,000 death benefit and has 13,000 in cash value, that when they die, they don't get both of those numbers to their family. They get whatever's higher. So let's use that example. I have a $15,000 paid up life insurance policy that has 13,000 in cash value. How much death benefit do I really have? I've got $2,000 because $13,000 of that is my money in there. It's my cash value. So, Mrs. Jones, doesn't it make more sense to take the cash value and transfer it into NGL and protect it from a nursing home spend down? Because the way you sit right now with the life insurance, if you need care, they're going to make you spend that cash value inside the policy. And I will tell you, I know this to be fact because when I walked through my mom's, that was the one question that we had to provide to them. What was the cash value of her life insurance policy? So again, don't put yourself in a position where they may say, hey, we've got everything taken care of, or we own life insurance. If they own life insurance, great, let's review it. Let's make sure that it's going to benefit you and be protected for the time when you need it the most. And then close the sale. You're going to give the clients that peace of mind of knowing that they've planned ahead and that the funds are protected. Uh, you know, when I was doing one of my speaking engagements for IMES, I had one of the agents come up to me and say, hey, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but man, I wish I had your story about your dad. And I said, well, you do have your story, my story to share with your clients. You just simply tell them, hey, I have a friend in the business and this is what happened to him and his dad, and share that story, because this happens on a daily basis with people sitting in the funeral director's office not having any idea what the answers to the questions are. And I'll show you how to solve that for them here in a minute. Where do you find the money? We'll ask our clients, hey, have you prepaid your funeral? Well, no, we haven't. Well, if you were to pass away today, where would that money come from tomorrow to pay for your funeral? And then listen to them. It's been several times we've had a client say to us, well, my daughter knows that I have this CD over at the bank with $15,000 in it, and that's to be used for my funeral. Well, gee, doesn't it make more sense to take it off of the countable asset side for nursing home spend down and move it to the non-countable side? That's an easy deal. Maybe they have annuities where they're not taking their penalty-free withdrawal. I think the number is 97% of all annuities get passed on to the beneficiary. They're not even utilized by the owners of the annuity during their lifetime. Pull some of that money out and get it protected. Again, I would say to that particular client, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, if you think about it, we're really not even buying anything. We're simply taking money that's countable from one side and we're moving it over to the non-countable side in your portfolio. And so, again, it's not about finding new money. They've got the money. We just need to motivate them to get it into the right spots. Now, with NGL, they've got some great marketing materials. These two are the ones that we use, the estate planning trust and the expense trust, funeral expense trust. They are written in layman's terms for your clients. One of my favorite stories with this is I have a client that I did some annuities on. After I got all that done, I went back in, I showed them the funeral expense trust and the estate planning trust because they had about $80,000 of cash value sitting in some old life insurance policies. So I went through my pitch with them on how we needed to get that moved over and protected because they didn't have any long-term care insurance. And the client said to me, well, John, you know how we do business. We don't make any decisions at the time that it's shared with us. We like to sleep on it and go from there. And I said, well, you know how I do business. I don't have any problem with you sleeping on it. But just like with the annuities, the best time to make a good decision is when you have all the facts and they're fresh on your mind. So I'm going to leave you these two brochures. I want you to read them, and I'm going to call you at 1 o'clock tomorrow to get a decision. This is a true story. At 9 o'clock the next morning, they called me in the office, said, hey, we slept on it. We went back through the brochure. Let's get the appointment and get this done. And they're clients of ours with NGL to this date. They're both alive, and that money's in there earning interest. So with NGL, they offer this planning guide for free. And I'm going to tell you something. My mom, like I said, we moved her in with us, and I had her fill one of these out. And she knows my story with my dad, her ex-husband, and how I was put into the position of not having answers. If I was always taught in this business that when you do business with someone, if you leave them a task, it keeps them engaged in the process, and they're not sitting there worrying about what they just did. So what we do is we leave this planning guide with them when we write the National Guardian Life policy. And we'll tell them, hey, when we bring your contract back, we need you to have this filled out. And we're sticklers for this. And not everybody will do it, I'll just tell you that, but we get a great majority of them to do it. And the reason we do it is it's going to give their person handling their affairs at their death all of the information that I didn't have for my father when he passed away. If you take a look at this, it tells all the way down to what their rank in the military was. You know, what's their favorite music, their favorite hymns, who do they want to be pallbearers. This is invaluable information for that person. If I would have had this for my dad, I'll make it simpler. If I didn't even know you and you had a National Guardian Life policy and you had this completed, I could go in and take care of your whole funeral with the funeral director without ever meeting you. That's how detailed this is. It's free. It's done in a nice high gloss for your client. I would totally encourage you to have those available if you're going to write the National Guardian Life product. National Guardian Life, they're a specialist in this product. I've dealt with them for 14 years. I've been in the insurance business since 1987. They're the only company I can say this about. I have never had one issue with them, not from getting policies issued to getting paid to getting my clients paid out to the funeral home when they pass away or to their beneficiary if we're using an estate planning trust. We're partnered with the right company. They do a great job and they know what they're doing. Once you're licensed with National Guardian Life through Insurance Agency Marketing Services, you'll get exclusive content from their website. This is where I told you they'll have some of those PowerPoint illustrations that you can download. But the thing I love about their site, I can get everything I need. I can get the applications, I can get the brochures ordered, I can do all that. I can look at my daily commissions. By the way, their submission to commission, if I were to send them an application today that I wrote, my commission would be in my account by Wednesday or Thursday. So again, they're very good what they do. They'll get you paid and you'll get your client taken care of. So why sell the product? You know, I shared with you statistics. The clients, they need it. They're thinking about it. They just need someone to show them how to get it done. It's a great income opportunity. The trusts are free, so there's no fees. There's possibly no other clients or no other professionals advising your clients on this product. Those funds are totally portable. They can go anywhere. We got a great company backing us. We've got that peace of mind for your client once they know their affairs are in order. And again, if you don't like paperwork, you're going to love writing the applications with National Guardian Life. So let's talk about compensation for a minute. I just looked at this and said, okay, what if we have an average agent who's out doing just reviews, and they can review with their clients and find just 2 couples a month that need this plan? That would add about $60,000 to your annual bottom line. Now, the reason I say this is my mentor taught me, he said, don't get lulled into complacency and go through your career and only have one revenue source coming into your business. You need to have different streams of income coming in that you can count on. That's what we look at this as. We look at this at Entingh Financial to help us pay our office cost every year. It's one thing we don't have to worry with. So again, this is an easy plan to present, and once you present it and once you close it, it provides a good revenue stream to you as the advisor. So we're just going to look at this top left-hand corner up here, and you can see up here in the top left-hand corner, we'll use a 61 to 65-year-old. The commission on it is 9.9%. So again, let's just call it 10% for easy math. If you wrote 2 couples, you wrote 15,000 each on them, that's $60,000. That's 6,000 in commission. So again, if you did that every month, that comes out to about $72,000 a year of compensation. They do great trips. I've been on their rewards trip. They treat you like a king or a queen. And one thing I'll say about this trip, and whether it's with NGL or it's with insurance agency marketing services, my mentor told me anytime you make a trip, you seek out the top producers and you pick their brain. These are people who are willing to share with you how they got into that top 10 with that company. And what I did is I made conferences on a lower level by sometimes just squeaking by. I was always good at finding those people who were at the top and picking their brain and finding out what they were doing, and just over time taking those things that I found useful and implementing them into my business, and it's vaulted me to where I am today. So again, just that's a little side note. If you make a conference, the top producers are always willing to share how they got there. So some of the biggest challenges, getting comfortable with the concept. I shared with you when I sold my first annuity, it was $25,000. I could not believe someone was going to let me walk away with a check for $25,000. Now, if a client gives us $250,000, we don't even think about it. It's just because we've been doing it over and over again and we're comfortable with the concept. We know how to present it because, again, we've done it over and over again. And it's also because we keep it on the top of our mind, every client, every day. And when it pertains to this, it's a real simple question to your client. Have you prepaid your funeral? It's a yes or a no. If they say no, you can share with them the NGL funeral expense trust. If they say they have prepaid, because you will run into that, people say, yeah, I went down to shedding your funeral home and picked out everything and paid my funeral. That's great. Do you have any money that you would like to know is protected from a nursing home in the event you would get sick and need to go in for care? And if they don't have long-term care insurance, they're going to say yes, and that opens up your conversation to the estate planning trust. So a quick story here and we'll get wrapped up, but a few years ago, it's probably been 6 now, time seems to go by quickly, but I had a incident, I won't even call it an incident, an event. We had a client who I had done about $500,000 of annuities for. Her husband had already passed away, so it was just her. And I got a phone call from her daughter. And her daughter said, hey, John, I just wanted to call in and let you know that my mom passed away, and that, we're going to be needing to be doing some things. And I said, well, yeah, I thought highly of your mom, but get through the funeral first and everything you need to do. This annuity money will be here, and then I can help you get that over to you." She said, "Oh, don't worry about it, John. We've already talked to the guy at the bank, and he said for no charge, he's willing just to do everything for us. And she's got her money at the bank, so we're just going to go that route." And that put a knot in my stomach. I was like, how do I try to curtail that from happening again in our practice, because we have a lot of annuity premium. And so what I did is I created this guide for beneficiaries. And what I wanted to do with it was to go out to every client and collect all new data. Why would I want to do that? Well, I can tell you, as we went through this process of delivering this beneficiary guide and collecting the new data, we also found out something. Even our best clients don't tell you everything. So what ended up happening is, after we took this out and we went through the process of collecting the new data, we ended up writing over a 6-month period $1.5 million of new annuity premium, $200,000 of traditional single premium life, and $150,000 of National Guardian life. And we kept doing that because, again, practice makes perfect. Well, why is the guide so important? This is why. Because we leave this with every client, and right at the top it says, "For help settling my estate, please call my advisor at." And we tell them, you need to share this with your kids. We're going to give you this guide. We want you to share it with your kids, and we want you to tell them that they need to call us in the event something would happen to you. We put this nice letter in the front of it. And again, all this will be customizable to you once you're licensed with National Guardian Life through Insurance Agency Marketing Services, so that you can put this together for your clients. In this package, because I'm only going to show you next, I'm going to show you the organizer we use to collect the new data. But in this package, it tells them what they need to do when someone passes away. It gives them letters they need to send to the credit card, to the pension department, to Social Security Administration. It tells them everything they need to do to settle that deceased person's estate. So again, we want them to call us because we want to walk them through that process. So when we took the new financial organizer out to them, we said, "Hey, look, we're going to complete this financial organizer for you. And Mrs. Jones, if we had never met you before and you passed away, if we had this organizer, we could help settle your estate without ever meeting you." So as we went through the organizer with them, this is where we started uncovering the assets. It would not be uncanny for someone to say, "Well, I had this old 401k, but I always thought I had to leave it there, so I just never even brought it up." Well, those are the things we were looking for. And then when we got to question 8 here, have you prepaid your funeral? Yes or no question. Again, if they said no, we didn't launch into a sales pitch, but we knew we were going to circle the wagons. And if they said they had, then we were asking them, do you have any assets that you would like to know are protected from a nursing home in the event you would need care in the future? And again, then we would go into the estate planning process. Then here's the rest of the form. We would complete it with them and have all that updated information. Again, we make this available to you so that you can customize it to your company. But I will tell you, we get on at, well, I will just share this story with you. In November, we got a call from this, and it was $1 million account from us. The daughter was one of the beneficiaries. She was getting everything from the estate because the brother had gotten the business 5 years earlier from the dad. She called us on the financial organizer. We did the entire $1 million plan with her. So again, maybe she would have still called if she didn't have this in front of her. Maybe she wouldn't have. I don't like to take chances with that. On the back, there's a notes form for the financial organizer to make any notes, and that is how we do it. So Tony, any questions anyone would have, I'd certainly stick around and answer them for you.
Yeah, we have a couple here. Let me go ahead and get this switched back over to me.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Sure.
You see my screen?
I do.
All right. So we have I've got an agent asking about commissions. I will reach out to you in regards to that. So I'll get a response to you here shortly. And hold on. I guess not quite understanding what this question is. I think what they're trying to say is, how do you go about prospecting?
So that's a great question, actually, because I get a lot of times I'll say, well, is there a lead card? Is this there?
Hmm.
Is this that? And the answer to that is we encourage you, if there's an elder law attorney in your area, go in and introduce yourself to them. That's how I struck up the relationship 5 years ago with Donald Law down the street from me. I just went and introduced myself. I said, I have a financial planning firm. We have a product that I think might fit into what you do for your clients, and explained it to him, and then he started sending me referrals. Or I would be doing the client reviews, or if you do any type of marketing to bring on new clients, then again presented at that. But there we have spent thousands of dollars trying to create a lead piece that would draw any type of response, and we just we don't have one.
Okay. I have another agent here. I just want to acknowledge you that you had asked, do we write long-term care? Designs write long-term care? Yes, we do, and we'll reach out to you in regards to that here after the webinar. All right, and then can additional funds be added to the trust at a later date?
No, but I will tell you this. You can open another contract. So if you were, I'll give you an example. Somebody had a $50,000 annuity and they wanted to do a 10% withdrawal and take 5,000 out, and then next year, whatever the 10% amount was, they could actually do separate contracts
Okay,
to get up to that total.
all right, and then I have one here. Your chart shows, let's go through it. Okay, your chart showed $8,000 approximately for actual funeral expenses and $6,000 for cemetery expenses. Is that considered part of an excess, or does that portion have to go back to the estate?
I don't want to answer it the wrong way, but basically whatever is on that sheet that says is covered, and I've got the PowerPoint down now, so I'd have to go
Mhm.
back and look at it. But anything that's on that sheet, the money can be used to pay for. Does that make
Okay.
sense, Tony? On
Yes, it
that
does.
slide. So if it's on that slide and you've got an irrevocable funeral trust, that money can come out of that trust to be used to pay for those items.
Okay. And let me see. I think that is it. So with that, a couple of things. If you have any additional questions, as always, you can reach out to us. As far as the life sales directors here at IAMS, as you see, here's my information. My email address is tony@imsinc.com. Justin Ford is also one of our life sales director. He and Jess Riley are in our Topeka office. I always like to say, a lot of people say Jesse. It is not Jesse, it is Jess Riley. But there are their emails, and you can reach out to us at the 800 number and ask for anyone in the life sales department. Also, let's see, a couple of, before we close out, um, there's a couple more polling questions that I have here that wanted to get this out to you guys before we conclude. If this will work for me. Looks like it's closed out. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, looks like we're having some computer issues here. So let's see here now. Let's see if it'll work for us. And it will not. All right. Well, for this content and other contents, we do have access, or you can get access to either our Facebook page or on LinkedIn. So if you want to follow us or like us on Facebook or LinkedIn, here's information for that. Uh, that way we can provide you with content like this as well as other content. So with that, we'll close out. John, do you have anything else to add?
Just one other thing. If you're not from Alabama, we can use all the rooting for our Buckeyes tonight. So let's win that national championship. And I appreciate everybody being on the phone or on the call this morning on a Monday morning. I'm sure you got a lot to do, but thank you for that. And Tony, thank you and Insurance Agency Marketing Services for your time.
Yes, thank you. You guys have a great week, and we look to talk to you again soon. Thanks.